Solo portals and its importance. Hey everyone. So in the past, I always heard chatters of, oh, what's the purpose of solo portals? It's dangerous, not safe, just put two people to get in and out. Especially since VCR is more mechanic heavy rather than hard or damage wise you can hit. However, there is a slick, tricky slope to this because some say you need a lot of damage, but in doing so, you will elevate things so much faster, which can actually be worse and wipe your group. While others say your damage is too low, the longer you stay in there, only a matter of time for chaos, anything can go wrong. VCR is meant for teams to stack, move, and once someone falls out of line, which you're going to have at times when someone dies or kill orbs or send shards downstairs, yes, you do have someone assigned to that, but keeping everyone in check is really hard to do because the more people move people around, the chances of dying and wiping comes about. So here are a few pros and cons why solo portals are important. Number one, sure, if you're doing an open run with inexperienced portals, people definitely put two people in. Why? Because it's not VCR3. You're not going for a speed run nor no death or even Griffin Heart. So allow yourself to get it clear even if it's a slow run. It's a learning phase. However, there is a big but. Portal downstairs is more about following time mechs than damage. Um, person is way more One person is way more than enough damage downstairs. So damage is more important upstairs where all the chaos usually comes about. So having two people downstairs, considering you also have a tank downstairs that helps you as well, meaning technically that's kind of three people down there. That does become a waste of time, and sometimes if you're not following proper mechanics, either you're too slow downstairs or too fast because you need to follow the elevator explosion phase, or things happen such as RNG. If you don't properly do it, you're probably gonna get wiped, even with two people up there. I mean downstairs. The second thing, you really just want to be in and out from portals, but mechanics in VCR will only allow you to get out so fast. And sometimes you don't really want to get out too fast because you're really trying not to do so many portals in this trial. You want to limit it to about maybe two or three times max, hoping your team can get down to a certain percentage where you no longer have to go in portals. Number three, while you can play safe and send two people down, or just have a sub if someone dies, regardless how you want to do it in your team comp. I always strongly advise people to at least at first, while your team is new and they're getting the reps to practice to eventually get into higher VCRs, to practice solo. And I stress this big time. It will only make your team better and it'll give you a lot more confidence too. Plus, if you die, your sub who also practice won't have to do as much because you as you get more experience, you probably have done most of the work downstairs. Example, most of the time if I die downstairs because of a lag or blooper, and this is rare but it does happen, VCR is a laggy and things do happen. Hey, Sauce is the best at fixing this game, not so bloopers. Anyone who has a sub for me downstairs, the orbs are usually broken. So they're all broken. So all you're really doing is transporting, and with a tank, he'll usually help you out. So it's usually done in and out. Unless the sub doesn't really have much or he just goes in there and completely dies. I also found a lot of times that two-man portals, they waste so much time. And I'm not saying it's for everyone, but most two-man portals, because they're inexperienced, they waste so much time and wipe because they never experienced solo portal practicing. So they're actually taking so much, about triple the time long in a solo than what a solo would do downstairs. Because downstairs is really about mech timing and awareness that you can only get through practice. Going down there and thinking you're just gonna burn crystals down as soon as possible, yes, in theory, but you gotta follow the rest of the mechs and not die, which many people tend to do because they don't have the heals or the right builds. And some of these bad habits is because VCR 0, even sometimes VCR 1, you could probably get by with a lot of bad habits. But as you start getting into any harder thing, not just with this trial, any trial, you're gonna realize that those leeways you got away with, they're not gonna help you in Griffin Heart. or in a no def, or even sometimes a VCR3. You're gonna learn that real soon. Number four, DPS build setups upstairs is totally different than downstairs. And because portals need more stuff downstairs, since the upstairs gets most of the buffs, and you got the whole team upstairs, your downstairs don't get all those buffs. I mean, you try, but they're not really getting much. So certain things you may need help in, such as skills to get buff, debuffs, maybe pen, and vice versa. Um, so if you have two people on the portal downstairs, you really are just wasting damage time, and it's not optimal for the upstairs. I'll give you an example, and every team comes different. For example, downstairs, and I'm just giving an example, so I'll take a set of stone. Downstairs, you may need more pen. Upstairs, you won't need much pen because most of your team's gonna support it. One could say, "Oh, your tech downstairs is going to debuff it." Sure, but there's still things that will help you um, be successful downstairs in your build that you just want to have. And so, but when you go upstairs, those things are no longer needed because you got them. So you become over the cap with stuff. So it becomes less optimal upstairs. Um, is it a big deal breaker? No, but like I said, everything counts when you're trying, when the time is hitting and you're trying to get in and out as quickly as possible. And you'll learn that as you start getting into higher comp. Um, so once again, learning or doing VCR regular, you go ahead and start getting into higher, VCR, like I mentioned before. Um, you try to maybe in the lower as you get reps, but then later on, you just want to become better as a player. Why not? Number five, there's so much that can go wrong upstairs. VCR3, you get everything upstairs. Things that you don't get in VCR1, in VCR2, or even VCR0. So you want to have your whole team upstairs as much as possible in a good team formation, not moving all over the place unless you need to for certain things that are assigned, certain deep roles that are assigned, like or Buster, which in reality some teams have started to take slow that away because of the Arcanist laser. Like I said, every team comes a little different from the stack and has made it easier. Healers do get shards for the downstairs people, or someone getting a hug mechanic where they gotta rush into a group. For example, let's say I am trying to get a rest for someone. Even if I'm, let's say, the assigned one, some that hug mechanic may pop at you really fast, and you're away from the team. Now you gotta rush in there. Now every team comes different. I personally don't like to rush into anything. I personally like, you know, calling on the comms, but everyone's a little different. Depending on your team comp. One can argue that sending two people downstairs is safe. However, like I mentioned before, it's a waste of damage bodies, and the only main reason for this is if you're inexperienced. Let's say you are in VCR3 and you have a solo in Portal 1, but you don't have a Portal 2 solo. Okay, then definitely put two because it's an exception. You don't have the experience, and you just want to get the clear. But other than that, you're a solo Portal DPS, but your tank is also there. So you really have two people down there. Keep in mind, the DPS role, the longest you're damaging the crystals, which you don't even have to kill all the crystals. You're only killing them until you get 3 orbs. Once you do this, your tank can even help you out transport at least one. If you're struggling, maybe two, but don't be selfish, don't make your tank go all the way to the other side when you can do it as a DPS. Let the tank, get the shorter distance orbs, and that's what team chemistry comes in. Because remember, they are also taunting your boss, you know. So don't be selfish, put in some work. Number six, damage is high. So who cares? Send down two. That was one of the comments that people have mentioned before. So here's a response to that. Okay, sure. While damage is higher than ever before in the game, here's the thing, and I learned this the hard way because I was also a bit naive in the past, you know. But as you get more experience, as you start doing harder content and being in this game for years, you're gonna learn stuff, and your mind is gonna change so much. Where things you thought was set in stone, you realize, boy, was I wrong, And some things I still agree to this day. So here's the thing: you have about 95% of people who play this game are casual gamers, and the opinion of that, casual could mean anything, but I'm just giving a example, not set in stone. So what I mean by this is that you got people, most people, 95, are not optimized. A lot of people just do delves, quests, domains, etc. The card game, they do everything else but really high end game, or even sometimes even trials. Most people never even do trials, um, at least in vet, you know. Then the 10% left over, you have 5% that are PvPers, hard end game or PvP. There is no end game in PvP, but some people call it that. But you get my point. Really good experienced PvPers, that that's all they do. And out of the 5% end gamers, you have 2 to 3% who are casual end gamers, and the other 2% are mid-tier end gamers. So mid-tier gamers are like they're good end gamers, but they done all the vet trials, and maybe have done some hard modes. Then you have the 1 or 2% sweats, meaning um, they're they got everything. They're just trifectas, no devs, speed runs, etc. So it's hard just to even get into end gamers in a core. Keep in mind we have 5% and look at the categories. Um, Most teams also become a recycle process. They come, they quit, they go in and out. You know, and what I mean by this is this. For example, if I have Bob in my core team, chances are if I get invited to another core team, hey, you want to join this core? Chances are I'm probably gonna see Bob or Sabra will probably be there. You know, why? Because everyone knows each other, and the end game is really such a small community, and it's only getting worse, and the talent's not getting any better. There's such a high demand for more recruits in all cores that what you get is a lot of times you're getting players from ESO who's only been playing for a few weeks. Considering, hey, myself and many higher end gamers, we've been playing for years, and you still got to get better all the time because there's changes. So imagine you're getting a ESO player who's only been playing for a few weeks. He parses maybe for like 130k, and then pretty much he's in the door. And yeah, he may have got his vet trials, but let's be honest, I mean, you could probably get carried for that, most. So it's whatever. Sounds cool, but it really is not. And here's the result of this: it makes a lot of turnover in the game when more people quit. Why? Because of lack of skill or experience. And it just becomes a revolving door. So, with that being said, sure, in a perfect world, you will have someone follow Max, hit decent, and is a good teammate. Sadly, in SO and most MMOs, finding people to just say hello to each other is already hard work. So, while I also used to believe this, the more years I am in this game, the more I realize not everything's set in stone as easy as one may think.